Scuderia Ferrari and Charles Leclerc are facing a delicate issue. In the turbo-hybrid era, the gradual tightening of the maximum limit on homologated power unit and transmission components has become so restrictive that nearly no team has managed to stay within these regulatory bounds without incurring penalties during a Formula One season. Despite the impressive reliability standards achieved by power unit manufacturers, the final races of this Formula One championship could still compel teams to take penalties due to the excess use of components beyond the allowed limit. Current championship leader and most likely championship winner Max Verstappen used his sixth internal combustion engine last weekend at the 4.309-kilometer Autodromo José Carlos Pace in Brazil, which placed him at the back of the starting grid for Sunday's São Paulo Grand Prix. And as we approach round 22 of the 2024 Formula One campaign, which is set to take place at the 6.2-kilometer Las Vegas Strip Circuit in Nevada, USA concerns are also growing around the power unit durability for Charles Leclerc. So far, the two Ferrari drivers have not received any penalties thanks to efficient power unit and transmission rotation. However, the fourth complete power unit was installed on car number 16 back at the Dutch Grand Prix, which means 7 race weekends ago, and it has been used consistently for both the qualifying sessions and the race since Zandvoort. The rainy weekend in Brazil prolonged engine life, sparing the power units from cooling issues that can arise in dry conditions. The engines have also been pushed harder by the drivers compared to a fully dry weekend. In previous races, Ferrari's technicians and engineers have taken every possible precaution to protect the integrity of power unit 06612. For example, at the Circuit of the Americas in Texas, Charles Leclerc was repeatedly asked to perform lift and coast in the closing stages of the race, where he had a significant lead over his Maranello teammate. In contrast, in Mexico City, the Monegasque driver struggled to keep up with Carlos Sainz on a track known to be demanding for engines due to low air density. Among the remaining circuits, Las Vegas stands out as one where overtaking is feasible. The upcoming race, set on an United States-style city speedway in the gambling capital, will heavily depend on engine power. It is no secret that Ferrari's ambitions are high for the third Formula One race on American soil. Last year, despite the limitations of an SF23 car that struggled with tire management, Charles Leclerc took pole and came within striking distance of Max Verstappen, who eventually claimed the victory. With the first instances of power unit component usage exceeding FIA limits, grid penalties are significant. Max Verstappen was moved back 10 grid spots in Belgium and only 5 in Brazil due to replacing just the V6 combustion unit. For Charles Leclerc, this would be the first homologation of one or more components exceeding the maximum limit. The Ferrari driver has reached the limit on the following usable components: internal combustion engine, traction control, motor generator unit heat, motor generator unit kinetic, energy store, control electronics, gearbox case and cassette and gearbox driveline, gear, change components, and auxiliary components. What does the sporting regulation impose when the maximum number of homologations is exceeded? A 10-place grid penalty for the first time any additional element is used, namely the fifth internal combustion engine, traction control, motor generator unit heat, and motor generator unit kinetic, or the third control electronics or energy store. For subsequent uses of the same type of component, a 5-place penalty is applied. The unusual layout of the Nevada circuit offers significant overtaking opportunities, also allowing for the benefit of a fresh unit with a bit more power compared to one with heavy mileage. However, if the Monegasque driver were to receive a 10-place grid penalty, even with pole position on Saturday, he would start from the 11th spot. This is far from ideal, especially at a race where Ferrari hopes to maximize points to challenge McLaren at the top of the 2024 Formula One Constructors' Championship. In hindsight, the Brazilian Grand Prix at the Interlagos circuit would have been a better choice, where the SF24 offered Ferrari fewer chances of success. It is unclear whether this choice is due to the mileage already used on all 4 power units available for Charles Leclerc's car, or if it is a preventive measure to avoid any risk of a power unit failure. It is also worth noting that in the batch of power units used on car number 16, there is the engine that experienced a noticeable power drop in Canada, which may not have been used in any official session since the Montreal weekend.